Hi, and welcome to Crab Recap. Today I will tell you about a movie called Lamb. A creature with heavy breathing has come down from the mountains and wanders through the snow-covered valley. It frightens a small herd of horses and then comes to Ingvar and Mary's stable, where they keep sheep and rams. After its visit, one of the sheep leaves the stable and falls exhausted to the floor. There is a blizzard outside the window, and it is Christmas. But Ingvar and Maria are anxious. They look out of the window, not realizing that at that moment, a terrible creature is looking at them. Spring has come. Ingvar and Maria are preparing the land for the sowing season. They feed hay to the sheep and do other chores, not noticing their dog peering warily into the stable as if someone from another world had taken up residence there. Finally, the birthing period begins when the ewes produce little lambs. At dinner, Maria and Ingvar discuss the latest news they have heard on the radio or television, but the rest of the time they go about their routine farming life. One day, they heard a dog barking from the stable. When they arrived, they realized that another lamb was about to be born. It was coming out head first. When the lamb was fully emerged, it turned out that the sheep had given birth to a human baby with the head of a lamb. It was a girl. Ingvar and Maria were dumbfounded, but accepted this child. They thought it was a miracle that happiness had finally knocked on their door. The thing is that Maria had lost her daughter a few years ago, whose name was Ada. They decided to name the sheep the same. They take her into the house and take care of her as if she were their own child. Maria takes care of Ada, feeding her milk, bathing her, and wrapping her up. Ingvar brings an old crib from the barn. He cleaned it and put it in the house. Maria quickly became attached to the girl, but Ingvar had a harder time. It is hard for him to see his wife babysitting the baby again. When he went to the field on the tractor, he stopped and cried. Maria, on the other hand, was troubled by Ada's birth mother. A sheep would come to their bedroom window, where Ada now lives, and bleat there for hours. Maria tried to chase her away, but it didn't have much effect. Even in the evenings, when Maria and Ingvar sat down to watch television, the sheep would come under the window and bleat, asking for the lamb. Maria had to close the windows to avoid hearing the sheep's sad call. As time passed, Ada grew up like a normal person. She was dressed up in human clothes and brought up as her own child. One day, Maria drove the tractor into the field while Ingvar did chores in the barn. Ada was left home alone. When the husband and wife returned home, Ada was missing. They set out to search for her in the surrounding countryside, though they realized that there was little chance of survival for a girl of her age. A thick fog had descended on the valley, making the search more difficult. Ingvar and Maria split up to cover more ground. At last, they met and saw the sheep that had given birth to Ada in the field. At her feet lay the girl completely naked in the cold grass. Maria took Ada in her arms, and Ingvar covered her with his jacket. Maria was angry with the sheep for this act. When the sheep bleated for people to give her the lamb, Maria yelled at her. Summer came, the wildflowers bloomed, and Maria wove a wreath for Ada. Ingvar was tending sheep. A car drove down the mountain road. The car stops at a random place. 3 people get out and unload a man from the trunk. They dump him in a ditch by the road and get in the car and drive back. The man turns out to be Ingvar's brother Petur. He is a former musician who loves partying and a wild lifestyle. When Petur's debts piled up, or he did other reckless things in the city, he ran away to his brother in the mountains. It was quiet, fresh air, and no one would find him. Now Petur wanders across the plain to Ingvar's house, hoping that his brother will give him shelter and food. Maria and Ingvar are sound asleep in their beds. Maria has a nightmare in which she is surrounded by rams with burning eyes. They bleat and look at her threateningly. Maria becomes uneasy. She senses impending trouble and wakes up. Outside the window, the sheep that gave birth to Ada is bleeding. Maria cannot bear her any longer. She gets out of bed, takes an air rifle, goes outside, and shoots the sheep in the head. Maria then drags it away from the house and buries it. When she returns home, she walks not far from where Petur is hiding. He has seen what Maria has done. The woman goes into the house, washes the blood off herself, and goes to bed. In the morning, Ingvar catches his brother in the barn. He has spent the night on an old sofa. Ingvar asks him to stay, and Petur agrees. He invites his brother into the house to have lunch. At lunch, Maria and Ingvar introduce Petur to Ada. Ingvar's brother is shocked by what he sees. He tries not to show it. After lunch, Ingvar and Petur go outside to take care of business. But Petur doesn't take long to help his brother. He goes to the house, hears Maria bathing in the tub with Ada, and goes to watch. When Ingvar notices him, Petur tries to ask about Ada, but his brother warns him that if Petur wants to live with them, he must accept Ada without asking. The sowing season has begun. Maria drives the tractor, while Ingvar and Petur plant potatoes in the ground. On a smoke break, Ingvar goes to see how Ada is doing, and Maria treats Petur to coffee. Petur explicitly hinted that he wouldn't mind spending the night with Maria, but the woman abruptly cut off his advances. The next day, Ingvar and Maria decided to unpack in the barn. They called Petur to help, but he was not used to working long hours, so he sat down in a chair and tried to communicate with Ada. He plucked a tuft of grass and offered it to her to eat. Ingvar saw this and was furious. He yelled at his brother and took Ada away with him. However, Petur did not calm down. While his brother and his wife slept, he took an air rifle, took Ada with him, and took her to the field, where Maria had buried the sheep. Petur believes that Ada is not human. She is a mutant who should not live. He points a gun at the girl and is about to pull the trigger, but he can't. When Maria wakes up in the middle of the night, she sees that Ada is not in her crib. Maria goes to look for her. In the next room, Ada is nestled in the arms of a sleeping Petur. After that, their life went back to normal. Maria visited her daughter's grave with Ada. Ingvar read bedtime stories to the girl. Uncle Petur had grown fond of her and spent more time with his niece. One day, Petur and Ada went fishing, leaving Maria and Ingvar alone at home. While Petur and Ada were setting nets and chatting on the lake, his brother and his wife made love. On the way home, Ingvar's tractor breaks down, and Petur and Ada have to walk to the farm. They catch some fish, and dinner awaits them at home. Ingvar has a drink every now and then. He pours a drink for his brother too. He is in a bad mood after the tractor broke down. In the evening, they all get drunk and sit down to watch handball, but their team loses. Ada doesn't want to be with the people as they are yelling and getting angry so much. She goes outside where a creepy creature is waiting for her. Ingvar's dog tries to lunge at the creature, but it kills the dog with one blow. After the team loses, Maria decides to cheer the men up. She turns on an old cassette tape that has a clip of Petur's band on it. They start dancing and having fun, not noticing that Ada is missing. After dancing, they start playing handball, and when Ingvar is already falling over, Maria and Petur drag him into the bedroom. By this time, Ada returns from the street. She goes to bed with Ingvar. Maria goes into the kitchen to clean up a bit and throw away the empty beer cans. Petur also comes in. He tries to harass Maria again, but she stops him. Then, Petur uses his trump card. He asks Maria if Ada knows that she killed her biological mother. Maria gives in. She doesn't want Petur to tell the girl about the murder, and so she agrees to sleep with him. But Maria goes on the sly. She lures Petur to the pantry and then pushes him inside and locks the door. To prevent Petur's screams from waking her husband, Maria sits down at the piano and begins to play. The next morning, when Petur has woken up, Maria gathers his things, takes money from his stash, and takes him to the bus stop. She gives him the money and asks him to leave. When the bus pulls up, Petur gets on it and heads into town. When Ingvar wakes up, there is no one home. He had breakfast with Ada, got dressed, and went to repair the tractor. He took the girl with him. He did not succeed in repairing the tractor, but on his way home, Ingvar found his dog dead. Maria, meanwhile, returned to the empty house. She was gripped by an inexplicable anxiety. When Maria went outside, she heard a gunshot in the distance and rushed to the sound. It was a creature with the body of a man and the head of a ram. It killed Ingvar and took Ada with it. It was it that came to the stable last winter to conceive a child with the sheep. Maria found Ingvar in the field, but it was too late. Her husband had died in her arms. Maria realized that Ada had been taken by someone who had come down from the mountains. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Write your opinion about the movie in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos.